everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And today is, well, actually, as we're recording this, it's officially June. But also, when you're listening to this, it's June, which means it's
Indie Book Week.
I don't know if you could hear the drum roll. It's Indie Book Month. Not just week. It's week 1 of our indie book series. So we are pausing on Queen of Shadows for now, but we will pick that back up in July. And this week we are going over the book A Cursed Kiss by Jenny Hickman.
Guys, this book slaps. This book slaps. It's so good.
And we're very, very excited. But before we jump into that, we did have an episode of our Hot Goss with Unpopular Sauce this week. I feel like this last week it was less unpopular sauce and more hot goss. I said that on the episode as well. It's more just like
some
hot
stuff
takes.
that you probably didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like connecting a lot of dots if we're making up theories. I mean, potential outcomes and lots of, like I said, connections between her books and mythology and everything. So very fun. It was really fun for me to research and just kind of have oh my gosh, moments just to myself, finding out, reading all this stuff.
Just to summarize quickly, it's all about the ties between SJM's books and her style and the influence and Norse mythology. So very neat. Melissa did a lot of research. It was so cool. And I'm sure once we post some shorts, everyone's going to come out and be like, I have more to add to this, which I can't wait for. I think it's going to be great.
Caveat for that, though, again, I'm sorry, this is an episode where you will have to have read all of Sarah's books because we jump through the series and make connections between a bunch of different books in all 3 of her series. So
potentially spoilers. So just make sure you're taking care of you,
one of these days we will do a Hot Goss episode where you don't have to read all of her books, but so far that has not been the case. But it's fun, so go check that out. Came out on Monday. And if you don't already follow us, go ahead, follow us on Instagram. And all of our socials are at L.A.M.E Book Club Pod. If you could leave us a ideally 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, that helps our algorithm a ton. But thank you guys all for being here, for listening. It means a lot to us, and we're very grateful for this community that we've built and are continuing to build. And we love our book friends.
Yeah, we love them. Okay.
Cool. So before we jump in, just to kind of give you guys a quick idea of what this episode and what all of our, sorry, Ellie, all of our indie book episodes are going to look like. So right now, Ellie and I are going to go into a quick summary of the book without giving away too many spoilers. I mean, obviously you're going to learn some things about the book, but I mean, without any major plot twists or anything like that. And then we have pre-recorded episode, or the second half of this episode is a pre-recorded conversation between us and Jenny herself. We ask her questions about the book, her inspiration, herself as an author, and things like that. So stay tuned. It's all gonna be in one episode for you guys, but this will roll right into that. And just to give you a little preview. So with that, Ellie's gonna do the summary. So take it away, Ellie.
Yes. And once again, everyone, this is a high-level overview. If you've read the book, you're going to be like, they're not saying anything that's in the book. What happened to a summary? It's not exactly a summary. High-level overview. So for those of you who haven't read it, we want to give you just enough of a taste to be like, this has to move to the top of my TBR. This book's incredible. So with all that being said, here we go. Melissa, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, to start, this book starts off with a girl named Keelynn, and she has an older sister named Avenge. Keelynn is essentially complaining and whining to Avenge in the very beginning. She's claiming that she had dibs on Robert and that he's hers first and she's in love with him. Why are you marrying him, Avenge? He's mine. And Avenge's like, hey, you need to trust me. Have I ever let you down? No, I've never let you down. Just trust me. And Keelynn's like, and just kind of walks off, and she's, huffy. As anyone would be if your older sister was marrying the love of your life. At reading first, I was like, how rude. But now I'm like, I get it. Keelynn goes to the garden to kind of escape when she sees someone in the corner of the garden. It's Avenge. And Avenge is with a mysterious figure who is kissing her on the lips. The figure is not Robert. So all of a sudden, the color drains from Avenge's face and she slumps forward and dies. Keelynn runs to her sister and realizes that she was kissed by none other than the, oh boy, so this word,
Gankana.
I've been pronouncing it Gankana, but after speaking with Jenny, it's Gankana, and I just forgot. Okay. The Gankana is a monster who preys on innocent maidens and kisses them with poisoned lips, therefore killing them. Keelynn is in such deep grief that eventually she seeks out a witch to try to resurrect her sister. She finds a witch who tells her that she can resurrect her sister if she in turn kills the Gankana. The witch gives Keelynn a knife and a ring, which claims will kill the Gankana, but she needs to find some. Keelynn needs to find some help in order to finish that mission. Then Keelynn says, well, what can I give you in return for these items? She says, I don't want your coins. I want your lies. And the witch curses Keelynn to only speak the truth from then on.
One other thing that the witch gives her is a knife and a ring. And she tells her that,
but yes.
Well, she tells her she has to guard the ring with her life.
Oh, yes. Guard the ring with her life. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Keelynn. Keelynn is looking for a man named Padraig to help guide her to the Gankana. Padraig is described as a very handsome, pointed-eared man, Faye, who possesses magic to help her with her quest. She finds him and convinces him to lead her to the Gankana by claiming that she has something he wants, which is an emerald ring. Padraig is an old coachman who has been with Keelynn's family for years. Padraig is essential to the story because he was such a father figure to Keelynn. They go into great detail about how he's just always been there for her, and we immediately love Padraig. He's the best. He's just a sweet coachman that he loves her. Yeah. So he's guiding the carriage this whole time. Padraig hops in the carriage and they're off. However, we find out that Padraig and Keelynn quickly take off as enemies. They are always bickering. They're always fighting. It's so fun to read about, but I'd imagine being Keelynn, I would be super annoyed with this guy who just thinks he knows it all. We find out quickly as well that Padraig is also cursed to the point where he can't tell lies either. So one day while they're fighting, Padraig comments in reference to the Gankana that Keelynn wants to just kill an innocent man. And Keelynn's like, the Gankana is not innocent. But Padraig insists that her information is wrong, and the Gankana only kisses women who understand the consequences.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
The plot thickens.
On their travels. Can't lie.
He cannot lie. And so, love that. On their travels, it's clear that there is discrimination against those who have magic, including from Keelynn. Keelynn is also somebody who's really discriminatory towards... Discriminatory?
We get the gist.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I feel like I want to say it's discriminatory, but I feel like that if we're both... If I'm also wrong, then I'm going to get blasted.
Yeah, well... Okay.
Let's just move on.
Anyways, Keelynn discriminates against those who have magic as well, because she was always raised to believe that they were evil. You don't eat their food. You don't talk to them. You keep a wide berth from anyone who has pointy ears or any sort of magic. And she's realizing maybe that's wrong throughout her adventures with Padraig. In their carriage rides, they make many stops, and all these stops are just filled with wild adventures that continually grow them closer to each other. But they've still got that,
There's still a wall.
Enemies-ish, deal going on.
Yeah.
So one night they stop to rest, and they have a moment of vulnerability where, again, Padraig's trying to tell her more about the Gankana, but he chokes on his sentence because he's not able to lie. And she's questioning, why are you trying to lie to me? So then he points to the ring and states, I can't tell you what I need to without it. But Keelynn's not buying it. It's revealed later on that the ring negates curses, so truth could have been told had Keelynn put the ring on or Padraig put the ring on. Over time, Keelynn realizes that she's starting to care for Padraig. I think we all realized that before Keelynn. Keelynn tells Padraig that she doesn't want to search for the Gankana anymore. She has a new change of heart. She's softening towards him, and she just wants to return home. She offers to give him the ring, and he asks, oh, well, but what about your sister? Don't you want to resurrect her? And she says, I've come to terms with the fact that Avene is dead, and I don't want anyone else to be harmed trying to get her back. I think she's kind of believing Tig in that the Gankana is not as evil as she once thought. So all of a sudden, the witch who gave her the ring appears and gets upset with Keelynn for offering to give the ring away to Tig. She says, "You were supposed to kill the Gankana, not fall for him."
What?
What? Then
Gasp.
the witch takes the knife and stabs Keelynn in the stomach. We're all like, what is even happening? After being stabbed, Keelynn has a hazy dream of a handfast ceremony, and that is only the first half of this book.
Yes. You guys,
So,
we're going to stop there. We wanted to give you enough of intrigue. Obviously, like a few things that do end up happening, but there are so many more revelations that happen.
there's so
in the
many
second
plot
half of this
twists
book.
within even this first half that I never
Honestly,
mentioned.
exactly.
A lot has not been spoiled. You need to read it, and I'm not
Yes.
going to give it to you. No handouts, no freebies. Go get the book.
But even if you haven't read it, stick around. Right now, we're about to play that interview we did with Jenny, and nothing gets spoiled in that either. We do talk about the book, but it's more like her inspiration and everything behind it and her thought process in writing it.
Yes.
So still listen to that before, but then go get the book if you haven't already. And with that being said, are you guys ready to hear the interview with Jenny? Yeah?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, here you go. Hi, everyone. So we are here with Jenny Hickman, the author of A Cursed Kiss. We just went over talking about the brief summary of it. We are very excited. So, Jenny, thank you so much for being with us here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So we're going to go ahead and jump in to some questions. So the first question we have is going to be kind of like snowball or softball, sorry, not snowball, jumping in, just a little bit more about you and your background. So the first question is, when did you start writing?
I was trying to pinpoint the year. I think it's around 2008 or 2009. I wasn't one of those writers who kind of started writing when I was little and always knew I wanted to do this. It was really I was finished college. I had binged so many romance novels and was like, oh, I actually want to do this like now.
Yeah.
But secretly, so nobody knew about it. My mom was actually so worried about me because she was like, what are you doing? Just like hold up in your room with your notebook or like lay on it. Like, what are you doing? Because I didn't want to tell her. And then I finally did. And she's like, oh, okay, that's good. At least that's normal.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
love that. Okay, on the note of romance books and you loving them, what is your favorite book of all time?
Oh, whenever I saw this question come in, I'm like, no. Honestly,
I know.
This is such a cop out, but it changes, and it's also like favorite book like all around, or is it like romantasy or like rom-com? You know what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
it
Well,
really does.
I'll tell you what. Whenever anyone asks me what my favorite movie is, I give them a top 7 because I simply cannot narrow it down. And so it's based on genre. These are my favorites within, and I will not give anyone a one answer. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you just can't. Although I do have an answer to the movie one, but we can get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so I love Nicole Fiorina, her book Hollow Heathens for her writing. She is the most poetic writer I've ever read, and it's just fantastic. Like, I love A Court of Thorns and Roses and everything Sarah J. Maas writes. But I also love, I'm in my Elsie Silver era. Like, I have been consuming everything she has ever written, and they're so good. So, and Tara DeWitt's latest favorite is the top of my romance list as well. So it just changes. I read anything as long as it's a love story. I'm there.
I love
You
that.
are me. That is me. I'm not only a mood reader, I've said this on our podcast before and everything too. Like, I read for the romance. Plots are absolutely obviously crucial, but I'm not like a high fantasy or crazy fantasy reader. I don't read for the storyline. I read for the romance.
Yes.
So any book I read, that is what hooks me for sure.
Yes, same here.
Yes. Awesome. So with that, jumping back to the movie, what is your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time has not changed. Like, it's Braveheart.
Amazing.
I
love that.
Braveheart.
Like, I have loved that.
William Wallace.
Yeah. I just, like, number one, the accents.
Yes.
It's like, I think it has everything. It has, the
Mhm.
romance, the betrayal, the,
Mhm.
just every time I watch it, I cry. It's
Yeah.
so good. So I'd say that one is probably my overall favorite movie.
That's such a strong pick. That's
It
so
is.
strong.
It's so much better than
Not
mine.
mine being Shrek 2.
Ellie, shut up. I was literally going to say, at least yours isn't about an animated ogre. Like, Shrek 2, for me, is top tier.
That one steals the deal. But Braveheart's good too. Braveheart's good too.
Thank you.
But
Thank
know.
you. I mean, like Scottish accent, so it's fine.
That's
Yes.
so true. There's
So
ties. Shrek is so
I love
relatable.
that.
I can't handle it.
All right. So next question. Why did you get into romantasy?
I think I'm so basic in this response. No, like I think so many people I know got in because of the Court of Thorns and Roses. Like that was
Yeah.
my kind of. I had read like Nora Roberts. Like my mom and grandma read tons of romance, and she had some kind of fantasy romance like back from the 90s, I guess. Or anyway, so they had like so many Nora Roberts books, so I blew through those. But like it wasn't really until I read Court of Thorns and Roses that I was like, oh, this is combining many things that I love all in one. And then you get to make up your own rules and world, and which I like, because sometimes it's just nice to escape from this one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm with you. Like, I'm on that train of A Court of Thorns and Roses is what made me realize that I was interested in fantasy. Because, like I said, I knew I liked romance. Yeah. And I knew that, but that is what made me realize that it could be, romance is broader than just like the fun beach reads and stuff, which they're great. But, and I'm like, oh my God. And that's when like my reading really like took off and everything. So it's funny that you mentioned that you even know a lot of people that's what got them into it too.
Be the gateway.
100%
generation, I think.
Yes.
I love
absolutely.
that answer too, because I feel like so often people are like, oh, what got me into fantasy was Tolkien. And I'm like, be so for real. It was Sarah J. Maas, and you know it.
No, I would have watched. But I didn't read any high fantasy. It makes my head hurt, and that's probably why.
That's fair.
When the world building is too heavy, I'm like, skip to the skip through that.
That's so. It really is. That's funny. Awesome. So where, as an author, where is the strangest place that you've had like a drop everything moment where you just needed to like jot an idea down or finish part of something you were working on?
I think it's usually whenever like your brain is kind of like shuts off and like you're doing something that's routine. So like if I'm showering, I'm like, oh crap, I'll think of some way of saying a line. Or like whenever I live in Ireland now, but whenever I was living in the States, I lived in before I got married, I lived in Nashville, and I would drive home, and it would be a 9.5 hour drive to visit my mom and dad, and I would get a lot of ideas while I was driving. It was like, or like the way you kind of think of something. So it was like a voice note or jot something down whenever you stop to get gas or whatever. And then also I go for walks a lot, and I write a lot on my phone. So I have it kind of there, so I could just go on my notes app and I'm like, jot down whatever it is. So it's usually like when my brain is taking a rest.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And I just want to backpedal for a second. You live in Ireland now?
Yeah, I do.
That is
amazing.
Insane. Yeah.
Yes.
Very jealous.
I love Ireland. I visited once and I loved it. I'm so jealous.
That is usually the response I get whenever I tell people this is where I live.
Is that I mean, sorry, this isn't on, this is me like my brain firing. Is your husband from Ireland, or did he get a job there or something? Okay.
No.
Oh my gosh, your kids are Irish.
My kids are Irish, yes.
Do they have accents, or is it kind of half
yeah.
because you don't?
No, so they do. I studied abroad here many moons
Okay.
ago, and I was like, I'm gonna get me one of those.
That's what I
I
should have
went,
done. I should have studied
I
abroad.
so I went. It was our very first night out for college, and the college actually organized a pub crawl. So like,
Okay.
yeah, and there was a guy in a band, and I was like, he's cute. And
This
then
is so P.S. I love you. What's happening?
I
is,
know.
but without all the sad parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I thought, okay, this is just going to be a fling for, for the 6 months I was here. And then I went home in January, bawled crying. I was like, Mom, I want to go back. Had to finish my, last semester in college. And then like 3 weeks later, he was like, hey, so I think I might come visit you. And now, many years later, we are married with 2 kids. And yeah.
That's
the best.
You are living. You're living a book romance. That is insane.
I am.
And a biography is going to have to be next. Thank you.
I know. That's what people are like, when are you going to? I'm like, well, maybe when my mom is gone.
Oh my gosh.
Really haven't, actually.
I'm just don't read this, please, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, I know you want to support me, but you can just support me by, like, skipping it.
By not. Yeah.
You can support me the most by not doing anything with this one, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well,
That's incredible.
I feel like that actually kind of answers a couple of our next questions. Ellie, do you want to maybe tie
How
these
did you?
together?
Well, first of all, what inspired the Irish influence in your book? I'm thinking I have an answer now.
You do have an answer. I say this too, like, if you've been here, so like, you just try not to be inspired, like everything, like the weather, the way the clouds are just like right on top of you, the countryside, the people, the sense of humor, it's like try not to be inspired by some part of it. But then I remember I was researching Irish mythology, and the legend of the Gonkana is, that there is this fae who basically embodies like your perfect guy. And if you meet him, you fall desperately in love with him whenever he kisses you, and then you basically die whenever he decides to leave you for somebody else, because you go mad, like you go crazy from like wanting him. So that was
wow.
the whole concept came from for a curse kiss. So.
Okay, I love that.
That's cool.
Also, I'm realizing in real time that I have been saying, how did you say it? Gankana?
Yes.
Oops, I've been saying the Gankana, which I guess is same, but different.
Yeah. No, but it's just different emphasis on the wrong syllable. It's fine.
There it is.
Yeah.
But
oh
Irish,
my gosh.
So it's all there. It kind of all goes. It goes hand in hand with mispronunciation.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like being an American and just like a solely an English speaker, instinctually I want to be like anything. I mean, I feel like Gaelic is like a derivative, like languages are a good example of this. I want to be like, that's not how it should be pronounced, but like that's rich coming from someone who speaks English. That makes no sense. There's no rules, and then also the rules change when there are. Like, it's very rich for me being like, oh, I would never have said it like that.
Yeah, no, but I will say the rules make no sense. Even like my kids are learning Irish, and like I think when the M and the H are together, it's a V sound, and like when the B and H is together, it's a V sound. Like it makes no sense. And so like when they learn, sorry, I know this is off topic, but anyway, it's interesting. So whenever they're learning, like, so they have learned to spell phonetically. Okay. But then whenever they have to have Irish spelling words, they're trying to spell phonetically, and it makes no sense. So I'm like, you just have to memorize it. There's no rule. Just memorize it. I don't know. I can't help you. So, yeah.
I love it.
It doesn't make sense, and I am aware, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's sorry.
Awesome. So if your dream cast for your book, who would you cast to play Padraig and Keelynn?
So I did pick people but I'm so out of touch with like movies and actors. Like who, like I'm Googling things. So I think actually, I think Aidan Turner from Poldark. So he is actually Irish. I don't know if you guys can.
I'm gonna have to look him up too.
He's got
I'm
hair and a nice, really nice.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I do recognize him actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
big fan.
Padraig. He looks like he'd be covered in dirt and look good in guy liner.
Yeah, he does.
And then I think I'd probably go with someone like Keira Knightley or someone like British, like that very like slender build and like she's beautiful but different, like not conventionally like, I don't know. So it's probably someone like that for Keelynn, I'd say. Yeah.
I love it.
Love it. Okay. What was the hardest scene in this book to write?
I don't think there was anything specific that like jumped out when I read this question. I think for me, the whole second half of the book was completely rewritten from the time that I drafted it, and then my editor got it, and it was like, so many of the secrets came out kind of more toward the end, and I was like, there's too much for her to have to forgive and overcome and get over for this to be a happily ever after. So let's move this now to the middle, and then have, her arc kind of go a little bit. It's just been easier, and more understandable for people to be like, oh yeah, I know why I got over that. But whereas if you throw it at the end, it's like, no, goodbye.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that, because I remember when I was reading, I got to the halfway point and I thought, what else? Like, this seems like it could be a whole book in itself. How else can this story build to the point where there's like another climax scene and just wrap it up? Because it was so good already in the middle. And then it was wrapped up so chef's kiss, Jenny. It was such a good book.
I can also attest to this because Ellie texted me that exact same thing, like while we were reading it, like exactly what she said when she was in the middle, and it's just funny to hear you say it again.
Just leave it here and have a good night's sleep.
It was so good. I just loved it. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so you have a line in chapter 11 that says, "It's easier to fear the unknown than try to understand it, and unfortunately, the loudest voices often belong to the most fearful." Was this theme in your book inspired by any current event, or was it just an overall message towards kindness and understanding?
I think it definitely wasn't anything specific, but it was just, overall the theme of the book is like, trying to get to know people who are different from you and understand them and accept people for who they are. Kind of for the whole series, actually, that's kind of the whole thing. So I don't even, sometimes I come out with lines and I'm like, this is really good. I'm surprised because I'm like, did I write this? And it's like, yeah,
that's amazing.
Man. Yeah, that one just hits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful theme, and it was such a powerful line that I felt like really encompassed the whole theme behind. There was like very clear discrimination that needed to be broken, and it was just so well written. And I loved reading about like the gentleness that kind of comes to Keelynn later on as she's realizing, oh, these aren't monsters. They're just, creatures. We're all just creatures, and it's all good. And we need to have peace. And it was so neat. And so I love that theme. Okay. So Padraig, the plot twist blew my mind. Had you always planned on that plot twist, or was that something that like came to you just, I don't know, as you're cooking and you were like, oh, I should do this?
So that was something that happened again because of rewriting the second half. That was actually rewritten. So there needed to be the like inciting incident of like, there has to be a change, and it needs to be more than just, oh, this guy's hot, I just want to get with him.
Yeah.
And you need to be something deeper than that. So unfortunately that event had to transpire, and I still get people like yelling at me in my DMs of, what have you done? And I'm like, but they understand though, like it had to happen. Like there had to be something that just pushed her over the edge from being what she was at the beginning, which so many people hate on her because she's naive and sheltered. And I think too, whenever they do read the second book, they understand a bit more of her, why she is the way she is, because she's sheltered, and that's, she is prejudiced against everything, and she just knows what she's been told. And then when she gets out there, it's like, wait a minute, that's a lie. That's not real.
Yeah.
So it needed to be something that's going to impact her, and that was what my little brain cooked up.
I love it. Yeah, no, that I also just want to say on the record too that I appreciate it. It was, like you said, like, it was sad but needed. And sometimes I feel like, and I mean, I can't, this is, again, like, not means nothing coming from me, because I could never write a book, but I do feel like sometimes authors are hesitant to do, like, kill off a character or have like a big event like that that they think people won't like, but it is necessary. Like, if it's gonna be even a little bit realistic and like have us, like, we might hate it, but like, that's life. Like, things happen that we hate that spur us forward and cause us to make decisions and stuff. And even though these are fantasy books, like, there has to be ties to what we understand and what makes sense in order for it to be meaningful and impactful. And it was like, you accomplished that, absolutely. And it, like, I appreciated it, though, like, even though it was very sad, but like you said, like, she needed something, like, it had to be something big in her life that was going to cause her to be able to change. And that absolutely was something big in her life that was able to spur her in that direction.
I have a question, and this is kind of a surprise because I did not include this.
It's okay.
But have you ever been tempted? Like, have you ever been writing a character and just been like, I have no chemistry with this character, but I don't necessarily want to rewrite. I'm going to kill him off. Has that ever been a thing?
It hasn't. No, I think whenever I feel like that about a character, I find a way to use them in a different way. So,
Okay.
So originally, A Curse Case was going to be standalone, done. That's it.
Yeah.
And then, so a lot of people, when they read A Curse Kiss, they do not like this certain character named Rian. And his little teeny tiny big plot twist in the end was the very last edit. I think I was even through, like, I think it was right before I sent it over for proofreading, like, that little twist. I was like, he needed a purpose. And and then it came to me. I was like, so I just figure out usually a way to use them. Yes, if they need to die, that would be something, but it would be more like, or my editor would say, why are they there? And then I have to go read it.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I usually do, like, I'm like, okay, instead of creating a character for this purpose of this, it's like, okay, how can I use them? Because people are multidimensional. It's not like, oh, this person is just the good guy, and then this is all they do. It's like, actually, there's going to be a little bit, or this guy's just, the jerk, and then there's got to be layers. So it's like, all right, let's just add a few in here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Melissa, you want to take the last one?
Sure. So the comforting moment where both Keelynn and Tig prompt each other to lay their head on their chest was really sweet and unique. Was this something personal for you to write, or was it just a tender moment that you thought of when writing the story?
It wasn't anything personal. It was just something tender, and it links into what happens between the sisters in First Heart. So it's something that, it wasn't anything personal. It was just more like, for his character. And I don't know if you guys have read Prince of Seduction, which is Tig's point of view. So when you get to that and you kind of see the way he's treated actually and what his curses entail, it's like, that's what he needed. Like, he just needed to not feel like, he's everyone's ideal man, but like, when you get down to it, it's like
just comfort.
He needed to feel just comfort, and that someone wasn't just wanting him because he was attractive. It was like, they wanted him for real. So
no, that killed me. I think that really just sold their relationship for me. I remember, this is off, but I was watching a Black Mirror episode where they're like trying to find their significant other through this app, whatever, and it like pairs them with different people over, a week or a month or a year or whatever. And everyone's trying to find out if they're compatible by going to the extreme of like romance. And there was one guy that just like held this girl's hand through the night. And that's where she was like, I think I'm in love with him, just because it was just like, there was no pressure and it was just sweet and just wholesome. And so that's the feeling I got from this too. Like it's not, this big dramatic kiss necessarily, but just come here, lay right here.
I know.
That was so sweet.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I know. I love them.
I'm glad. Awesome. Well, on that note, that is all we have. Do you have any parting words for the listeners?
I don't.
That's okay. I put you on the spot. I put you on the
That's
spot.
fine.
Yeah, I hope you like the book if this has convinced you to read it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I hope you all do read it. Again, A Cursed Kiss by Jenny Hickman. I found mine on Amazon. Where else can you find this book?
Yeah,
I
so
know a signed bookshop also sells it.
Yeah, the signed bookshop has signed hardcovers. They also have a few of these gold foil special editions left over. And then everywhere else, it's the paperback and hardcovers and ebooks. And then the audio is narrated in duet as well.
Love that. Love it.
It's fabulous.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Jenny, again, thank you so much for being on our show. And everybody else, have a great week. And we'll see you guys next time.